Did you get a chance to listen to the first lesson? And what is the takeaway from the first lesson? Eastern wisdom. The goal is the self discovery. And the entire journey is explained. We are picking up the main principles from Gita. Gita contains 700 verses, so out of which we pick up the select verses. Let us see how long you continue the journey. That is very important. And this Gita takes care of all the personal life, the professional life, the social life. So, today's lesson I titled it, We Are Using Temporary Means for a Permanent Solution. What to do? We are using temporary means. I am single. I feel lonely. What should I do? Get married. But my loneliness is inside the mind. To get married and remove loneliness is not a solution. Understand that. I like coffee, not tea. This person and not that person. I like pasta, not chicken. You, not he or she. This is the way we live our life. Mind is wandering in life every moment. And every moment gives me experiences. Life is a series of experiences. How are you today? Now, that is also an experience. But what happens, we think and we repeat actions that may give me different results, and we are expecting a permanent happiness. Bill Gates have been doing the same thing again, my friend, my good friend. 27 years of loveless life. Now he is looking for the same thing to have a loveful life, seeking a temporary, using the temporary means for a permanent solution. Am I clear? My friend, school friend, selected 23 criterias to get married with a girl. He said, what about I said, no, I don't have any criteria. I have a single criteria. In those days, I was also around 30 years of age, 25, no, maybe 25, 26. So I was going to my master. So I asked him, is it okay to have certain? He said, find out what is your criteria in your life. Don't start looking for criterias in other people. To summarize, he chose a woman living in another country. He got married. After 6 months, that woman got him deported to India back. He entered into depression. Choose the criteria. Use the temporary means for permanent happiness. John, what are you thinking? Just giving an example. I didn't hear you. Okay. So pay attention. Seeking permanent solution from temporary means. You look at the deeper insight of these masters who have been passing on this wisdom for the last 6,000 years. We are doing the same thing days after days, weeks after weeks, months after months, years after years, doing the same thing. We choose the starting point and a finishing point, and we suffer. We have fear, insecurity, anxiety, duality, conflict. We are, think of it, we are seeking a temporary means to find a permanent solution. What we are seeking: permanent happiness, permanent peace, permanent love. I'm looking at my master, sitting at the age of 25 with him. I have a big image in front of me. So, what is temporary means? Now understand. Any activity which has a starting point and a finishing point is a temporary means to find a permanent solution. I am single. I will get married. I will be happy. Starting point, finishing point. Permanent happiness is not there. Either you are single or you are. I hope we all are married, so you know your experiences. I'm not talking uh, individually, but I'm not giving challenging the marriage. That needs to be understood. Temporary solution, temporary means, and temporary solution. Temporary solutions and temporary means has a starting point in time, has a finishing point in time. Look at the Charlie taking tea or coffee. I will feel good. So it has a starting point, it has a finishing point. I cannot take tea or coffee 24 by 7. Are you happy listening to me? It has a starting point and it has a finishing point. Understand that. Don't say that, I will exclude myself. Whatever starts at the starting time, it has a beginning, it has an end, it is temporary. We use the temporary means. Go back, go a little deeper. What causes or how we choose the starting time and finishing time? That is what I told you. I like coffee, you like tea. So there is a starting point. So liking is always there in starting point and the finishing time. Now ask yourself what causes likes and dislikes? After all, it is my mind. We have a right to ask what causes likes and dislikes. We do not think at all, to tell you frankly. No, I like this yellow t shirt, or you like tea, or I like coffee. When we do not think, it is an animal mind. You should be ready to listen what masters are saying. They are little tough to listen. So we have two things. One is mind, other is intellect. I'm taking you to the journey. But before that, we should understand the means can find temporary or permanent solution. What is that means which can find permanent solution? Temporary solutions, temporary means. Temporary solution to permanent happiness, not possible. So our masters say it clearly. What they say clearly? There is a short-term solution that they use the word prayers. What is the meaning of prayers? I like it. I am attracted by it. I anticipate the pleasure in it. It is a journey to the immediate pleasure, which I say happiness. Have you heard about Biden relief plan? So this prayers can give me some relief, but it is not a permanent solution. Biden cannot continue to give us a relief package throughout the year, every month. Then I need not to work. Then I need not to work. So Biden relief plan. So the short temporary means gives us a temporary solution, temporary relief, no doubt. It gives me. I feel headache, let me take a cup of coffee. So Biden Harris relief plan is temporary, not a permanent. Same way, this, what that means. That simply means I like something, I am attached to it, I want a short term pleasure. That seems to be happiness, but that happiness is a relief, not a permanent solution. Are you getting it? Single, getting married, temporary or permanent? Choose yourself. I will not say anything. Why should I say? You have your experience. Life is a series of experiences. You all are wise. What we get in time will end in time. That is what the prayer says. It means likes and dislikes cannot give me permanent solution, permanent happiness. What our master says that Eastern wisdom is an instrument of knowledge. Instrument means the means of a knowledge. Aims at self-fulfillment. It does not aim at desire fulfillment. There cannot be a desire fulfillment in anybody's life. Think of it. Again, our friend, you can take an example of my dear friend. Meet my dear friend, Bill Gates. Do you see that? It's a journey. If I am not a seeker, then permanent solution is in the Eastern wisdom. An opposite of prayers is Shreyas. Shreyas means what is right, good. What is right and good? Ask what is right and good. We are not learning any religion, cult, dogma, belief. No. Pure understanding. Eastern wisdom gives 200% importance to the intellect. Science gives only 100%. That is the beauty of the East and West. So, in desire fulfillment, we adopt a particular method that begins in time and that ends in time. Clear? I'm invoking little higher principles. So it means every action that begins in time and ends in time cannot be the means to a permanent happiness. Do any action. Take a cup of coffee, get married 10 times, start and finish times. Wear, have the diamond jewelry. There are more women than men, so that's why I'm using that example. Whatever master says, follow the path of Shreyas. So, but now it has a caveat. So it says, first thing that you have to listen to these principles of Eastern wisdom that should lead to non attachment. You don't take a haste decision. No, let me do this and I will be in permanent happiness. Not possible. So it means you check your mind that is wandering, going for the likes and dislikes. So, first step is listening to these principles, then thinking over it, then ultimately that leads to a non attachment in the mind. Non attachment leads to the removal of false notion that pleasure is happiness. And once you remove the wrong notions and false notions, you will be amazed that your mind becomes one pointed. Did I make your mind wandering? Crazy? Anxious? Or you yourself are responsible? So the master is giving a solution. So once your mind becomes naturally steady, that succeeds in meditation. What is the result of meditation? The knowledge of the real self dawns. And once the real self, what about the real? The real self is the state of permanent happiness. The happiness is within us. Happiness is within us. So, what any temporary means we adopt for permanent happiness is self defeating. Not possible by action or effort, which is permanent happiness. That is why we say go into meditation, continue to move the mind within, live within. Find out, is there any entity that is unchanging, all pervading, pure consciousness? It is within all of us. But it is not possible by the animal mind. That is what we say the supreme goal of human life. Goals in life is there: getting married, having kids, earning money, and etc. etc. That should continue outside. Now, prompt after listening, start challenging your mind and ask your intellect to take over the mind. I'll explain you about mind and intellect clearly. 100% intellect is in service. Master says you are a great seeker. You are a wise person. You can Allow the intellect to put into service to meet the challenges of your life. Not the way my dear friend did it for 27 years. That is not the approach. 75% intellect is in service and mind is 25% active, makes you emotional, makes you obsessed. 50% intellect is in service. The mind has forgetfulness. It lives in what we say insanity, craziness, your anxiety, your reaction enters into your life because 50% intellect and 50% mind. It is swinging like a pendulum. Sometimes the mind says, I will take this decision, takes over the intellect, you are gone. How dare you? That comes from the mind. Calm down. Let me listen and understand the problem. Intellect takes over the mind. 25% intellect is in service. Your mind is constantly wandering. And then you complain about your own mind. What a funny thing the human being have. Who is responsible for your wandering mind? I am? My beard? No. You are yourself responsible. Look at it, the beauty of this understanding. Why mind lives in different states? Because of desire, delusion, pride, strong likes and dislikes, and jealousy. Intellect does not live in these. Mind is impulsive and instinctual. Question is why we follow mind, not the intellect. Isn't it? Another question. Logical. I told you 200% logical understanding is required to treat the path. If you want to get out of the comfort zone, life will be beautiful. When you can start the journey anytime you like. Now, see, this intellect means thinking, observing, making a choice, holding on to that decision. Now, check yourself. Is intellect not available to you? It is available. Mind bypasses. I told you I like this. Why you have put this thing in this? After all, it is also my house. Intellect is available. I'm giving you, I know, I know what happens. That's what I've been doing for 40 years. So I know people claim and blame. I had a wonderful couple in the beginning. I went for a private lesson in 2017 and 18 here. And for private lessons, I definitely, how to maintain my livelihood, I charge a lot. You can say, little more than any counselor or a psychiatrist. The guy was totally uncomfortable. But after the third session, we continued for about a year, every week. 2018 passed, they started living in a healthy relationship. When COVID started, they both proposed me to have a group session and they are ready to donate. That's this much of money per month. I started that. I have to pass on that nobility. That is why you are having a session. But obviously, N is also one factor. So your intellect should always be doing the self inquiry. inquiry. Now let us understand a little bit more and think of it. Mind has emotion, feeling, habits, and impulses. When we succumb to our feeling emotion like grief, anxiety, reaction within, when we are guided by them, intellect hides behind, we cannot take a right decision. I'm talking about your mind. If the mind is stronger than the intellect, we start blaming, complaining, and reacting. But as a human being, our intellect can take over it. So if the intellect takes over by knowledge, you start the Eastern wisdom. The intellect means the knowledge. The intellect must have the right knowledge. What is right knowledge? Temporary means no permanent solution. Continue suffering in your entire life. If the intellect takes over and ready and capable, you have started the Eastern wisdom. And if we start the practice of Eastern wisdom, we are a seeker. Why to use your intellect? You should be very clear. Observe, choice, and control. Three powers of the human intellect. Not possible with animals. That's why the tiger remains the tiger throughout their life. Elephant may be more intelligent than me, but they do not have these three capabilities. Observation, yes, limited. Choice, they don't have. Control, they don't have. Eastern wisdom, our master says, make your intellect stronger than the mind. Why? Go back. Do you remember Shreyas and Prayas? Intellect can alone choose Shreyas, what is right and good. Prayas means mind is governing me through the likes and dislikes, impulses, instincts, feelings, habits. Did you understand? I believe you all have mind and also intellect. Just remember last week how many times impulsively you reacted, how many times you blamed people, how many times you blamed God, who have started living in hell now because we have been blaming for years and years now. We pushed God also into hell. You are responsible. That is what this Gita is. When the mind is ruling us, because it evolved from the animal kingdom, that is why it is impulsive, it is instinctive, it is habitual. But I have been given the human intellect. I can observe, I can choose, I can control any decision, thought, speech, and action in my life. We have to make an effort, shine our intellect, and change the mind. What we are doing when we work for the mind, it is prayers. That is the word used in Sanskrit. Priya. Priya means I like what is pleasant to me. So today I like one thing, tomorrow I dislike. Do you see the fact? No. You like pasta today. It gives you happiness. Okay? Doesn't it? Temporary happiness. So anytime you are anxious, take pasta. Tell me, does it give you happiness? Fact. See the truth in it. Oh, now I'm married. I'm so happy. Go for a honeymoon, soulmate, and after a few months, sourmate. I see the differences. What I like, he doesn't like. What I like, she doesn't like. Who has taken a decision? Mind. What? Why should we shine our intellect? First, it should take over the mind. Second, I should start working on the mind rather than mind should be working on us. This Gita is a story, I'm briefing it, a girl married to a blind man. No worries, John. Men are always blind in their minds. We are only two. So, girl married to a blind man. After a few days, wife could not bear the pain and she covered her eyes with a cloth and became blind. Is this the solution in life? The entire story of the Gita begins from there. Why she did this? Why she did this? Mind and intellect both are in us. Mind imagines, tricks, distracts, reacts, angers, misleads, weakens, goes to the instant pleasure. As we continue our journey, we will also understand. But the intellect always likes to see what is the truth, what is right, what is good in life. The intellect keeps the focus. It builds, it gives us the strength and takes to the journey to happiness. And both are within us. Mind bluffs, intellect holds on. Both are within us, my friend. Mind says, more I have, I will be happy. Look at my friend. I am talking about happiness, not pleasure. Mind is always ready to destroy relationship. Intellect builds it. I'm giving you those tips so that you should think about it. The mind likes attachment. Intellect drops it first and helps us discover happiness. That's the difference between the mind and intellect. We both have, every human being have. We make it unavailable when mind is working on us. If you are convinced because of my beard, it is the mind. If you pay attention to these principles, it is intellect. Forget about this beard. Forget about that I have 40 years of experience. That doesn't matter to you. What it matters to you? I have that experience. Are you focused? If the mind is behind the action, it clouds, it leads to delusion. It leads to 6 enemies that I covered before from the Gita. I will cover it again. And it is responsible for 8 factors that is created by the mind in me, causes the suffering, grief, depression, anxiety, duality, conflict, blame, and complaint game. And if the intellect is behind action, it examines, it drops the delusion, it drops the ignorance of pleasure seeking mind, goes deep within, and it discovers happiness. So, the same intellect used by the science, used by the Eastern wisdom, science uses the same intellect to discover the phenomena in the external world. Law of gravitation was hidden in the human intellect. Newton discovered it. So, discovery means what is hidden needs to be brought forth. What we say, Eastern wisdom, deep inside, behind the intellect, there is a real self that is of the nature of permanent peace and happiness that is present. Whether we express our anxiety and depression outside, it will continue to be present. Meditation or Eastern wisdom is a journey to find that real self. The intellect is a perfect instrument, and that intellect needs to be trained and educated by the principles. I don't know physics. What I do? I educate the intellect about physics. What I have to do to find the real self? I have to educate by the principles to find the real self. What a big deal. Temporary means for a permanent solution, not possible. Another word that I use, shreyas, what is right, good. Intellect chooses that. What is prayers? The mind chooses that. What I like, what is pleasant to me. Mind over the intellect, suffering continues. The intellect over the mind, suffering comes to an end. By listening, learning. So let us start our practice again from, let us start our practice. Close your eyes.